Today's prompt was actually pretty easy. The whole idea was nothing is too small to record. Essentially meaning like, nothing is too small to film, or whatever it is that you're doing at the current moment can be filmed. And that was a really good prompt. And I was actually excited to film it because I had never really filmed some of like the mundane stuff. I photographed a lot of mundane things, and like I've been able to find whatever you want to call beauty in simple things, or beauty in the mundane. There's always that, having that artistic eye to see something, like the way that light hits a building at a specific time of day, or somebody crossing that, a shadow into light, going into a shadow, causing a frame. So being able to see that, I've always kind of had that, but I've never really been able to kind of articulate what that is like to somebody that isn't really in the creative space. So now that I'm doing a lot more video and like, starting this whole vlogging journey, the prompt that came up, like I mentioned, was, nothing is too big or too small to film. So today was actually the first day. Yesterday I worked from home, but today was the first day that I actually went out with this Canon R50v and the 10 to 18 millimeter Sigma. By the way, all of the footage that you see primarily, besides like me showing you the camera or the lens specifically, is filmed with the Sigma 10 to 18 and the Canon R50v. And today was actually the first day that I got a chance to film just normal stuff, the bus arriving to a bus stop, the bus ride itself, some of the sites in Philadelphia that I get to see every single day that are actually pretty beautiful, just simple things, like the water fountains in front of the city hall. All of that stuff is actually really beautiful, and like there's a lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money that goes into the beautification of a city. And today, because of this idea of nothing is too big or too small to film, I was able to capture some of it with this camera, and I got a chance to actually take a look at it, and I'm overlaying it right over this video. And some of you guys might be thinking, wow, that's some pretty boring stuff, but in reality it's just a way to actually practice the craft, because I'm confident on camera, but I'm confident on camera in the privacy of my own home. I'm comfortable behind the camera outside, like actually doing client work and stuff like that, but actually being in front of the camera in the general public, like people that aren't paying me, that are just like strangers, I'm actually not that confident. So I did experience a little bit of self-consciousness, but that quickly went away when I actually started to photograph, because I'm very comfortable with a camera and I'm out in public photographing all the time. But actually talking to a camera in public, you guys can probably tell I'm not in public right now. So I wasn't able and I wasn't brave enough to actually record myself and giving something like this, like narrating, this whole prompt to you in public, because I still was a little self-conscious about it. But I was able to record every Tuesday. I go out in front of City Hall. There's like a community skate park where a bunch of young men and women skateboard, and I photograph them. And actually, I've been testing out the R7. Something that I had noticed with the R7, I was using a Sigma lens on it, and the R7 and the Sigma lens were not very sticky. And I kind of wish that I can show you, maybe I can. I can show you some of the photos. Actually, you know what? I'll overlay some of the photos that I got onto this video. But what you can't see in the video itself is what I'm talking about, the stickiness. So let me see if you guys can see this here. Can you guys see that there? You guys see the little red box on the skateboarder right there? It's tracking him perfectly, but then look. He misses. The camera misses. So it's like tracking him, tracking him, tracking him, and then moving along. And this is with the STM lens. If I go through and I show you guys and now it misses him, the R5 and the R6, that would never happen. So I lose track of them. And if you keep looking at these photos, yeah, look at the little red marker, but it misses focus all of the time. Right there, I'm focusing on their eyes and it should capture their head, but right there it's just like missing people. and I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I did think that it was the Sigma that was paired with the R7 that was the issue. But now I'm thinking that the R7 might have a firmware update that needs to happen. So I'm kind of testing that out. And why I'm testing it is because I'm thinking about getting rid of the R7. Anyways, I digress. I go out to the skate park and I'm photographing these young men and women skateboarding there, and it's a great opportunity to capture video, and it's a great opportunity to capture photos because these people, these skateboarders, are actually in action, and they're doing something that they love, and they don't mind me being there because I'm out of the way, and it's just a good opportunity to test the camera. So that's what I was doing today, and as soon as I got out there, I felt really comfortable because I don't know, photographing people and then them asking to see the photos is actually really cool because it's not every day that they get to have their pictures taken with like a proper camera by a proper photographer. So anytime that somebody comes up to me and asks to see the photos, I gladly show them the photos. They're always like, "Oh my God, this is amazing," which is a cool feeling. And then they kind of sheepishly ask me like, "Can you send that to me?" Like as if I'm going to, and I feel the sheepishness. Is that a word? I can feel them being like, shyly asking me that question because they think that I'm going to charge them, which I guess in today's day and age is like, not uncommon or like a crazy idea, but I would never charge for photos that I'm taking out in public. So I always say, yeah, absolutely, man. Or person, individual. And we always usually exchange social media stuff. And if you guys go to my Instagram or my TikTok, you guys might see more of my photos of these things that I actually produce publicly. So you guys can take a look at some of the gear. One of the things that I do on Instagram actually is that I do actually talk to people out in public when I take their photos. So you guys will be able to actually get a glimpse of what that looks like. And you guys can actually get an idea of what that looks like if you guys go to my Instagram page and actually take a look at the stuff there, because I do have some videos of people coming up to me and me interacting with people out in the public that need their photos taken or ask for their photos taken. It's actually a cool feeling to help people out because, like I said, it's not every day that people get to get a professional photo taken by a proper camera. Most of us get photos taken with a cell phone, which there's nothing wrong with cell phone photography, but it doesn't really compare or compete to a proper camera. Anyways, some of the stuff that I was capturing today that I was testing out the R50v and the Sigma lens with. By the way, the Sigma lens, this thing is freaking awesome. I was using a different filter today, and let me show you that actually. All of the gear that I am using is kind of cataloged down below into like a 30-day vlog kit that you guys might be interested in checking out. It has everything that I talk about. But the star of the show for this 30-day challenge is going to be the R50v plus this lens, and then other accessories that I'm also going to be working with. But this filter, I forgot that I had. It's a K&F concept filter that has I think it's 2 to 5 stops of ND, so it's ND 2 to 32, which in my opinion is a perfect range. Like if you're at 2 and then you go to 32 and it's still not enough, just mess with your settings, because this I think is a perfect range. But what makes this filter really nice is that I personally really like the black diffusion effect. So this one comes with not only the ND 2 to 32, but it also has some black mist in it. I think it's 1/4, and it makes for some like really nice bloomy video, and kind of blooms the highlights a little bit, and I kind of like that look in my video. So this came in clutch because I was using just a regular filter that didn't have any kind of polarization or ND to it. Neutral density, excuse me, and all of my shots were all kind of overexposed, but this was absolutely perfect. So yeah, it was a really good day to actually film the mundane, me pouring coffee, me putting a cream, putting cream cheese on a bagel, all pretty simple, mundane stuff. And it got me in a good headspace. It's like, yeah, bro, just take your camera with you everywhere. Some of the other accessories that I used was a Peak Design clip that I put on my backpack, also a Peak Design strap, and I did walk out of my house with 2 cameras today, one that is the R50v and the other one is the R7. But with this challenge and me producing content for 30 days straight, the R50v is going to be on my hip and on my strap every single day moving forward, just so I can I might take some video as my courage kind of builds up and I become more comfortable in public with the camera. I'm definitely going to be like thinking about filming out in public and actually doing like a vlog, actually sitting out maybe in the cafeteria at the building of where I work, and taking like this little tripod with me, and slowly but surely we'll definitely get there. I also wanted to talk to you guys about the settings that I'm using. So actually, let's pop into that mode and I'm going to show you the exact settings that I was using, the way that I set up my camera, because you guys might think it is interesting. So let's go ahead and do that. A little bit of a spoiler, that video actually ran a little bit too long, so day 2 of the vlog is ending right now, but I did make the video where I'm gonna show you what the settings are, and you can find it right here. See ya.